Welcome back to the show. We got a good one for you today. We're going to talk about Apple. Is Apple next in crypto? We're going to take a look at it. And G7-BIS-FSB and the G30 all calling for cross-border solutions. Let's go ahead and roll that beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove, and everything that we're talking about here today. Crypto continues to move into new high ground, 1.3 trillion plus, a new all-time high right now, ranging for the crypto space collectively. Let's go ahead and take a look at the prices. 46,908 for Bitcoin. It's up 33.89% on the 7-day. Looking here just really quickly at XRP, it's 45 cents, is 0.4567. It's up 19.36% on the 7-day as well. Let's go ahead and get into this, ladies and gentlemen. Here we start with this because we got a lot to go over today. Let's see how quickly we can unroll this. So Michael Val 5 Links gives us new data indicated that Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust has acquired nearly 1.5 times the total Bitcoin mined over the past month. I want to remind you very quickly that there is a demand, and that's why they're locking it up. So scarcity and demand create price, right? But if we don't have demand, scarcity really won't be anything on its own per se. So I'm reminded of the tulip craze, right? If we don't continue to find that, I believe, a convergence between several different protocols to help get Bitcoin to a place where it could be used as payments more broadly and less expensive and less time consuming, I think you could have all pre-mined Bitcoin put on the XRP ledger and it settle in 2 to 3 seconds. What do you suppose that would do for value? You know, it's certainly food for thought here, and we could go anywhere, but let's go here. All right, this is from XRP Crypto Wolf. Mayor Francis Suarez said he's working on a city resolution that would bring Bitcoin to Miami's balance sheet. Municipalities getting into crypto, buying Bitcoin. Let me tell you, there's a lot of people looking at what had just gone on over the past few weeks with Guggenheim and Bill Miller's investment fund. And we know Grayscale and Galaxy Digital have been into this thing for a minute. You know, we're seeing Tesla now, $1.5 billion position in Bitcoin. You know, CNBC, rightfully so, asked the question, what if the top S&P companies decided to take the same percentage allocation in their portfolios? You'd have about a $1.6 trillion market cap for Bitcoin alone. And now think about what the size and the price of Bitcoin would be if you see municipalities take a position in their portfolio collectively for each city or state that they're in. I tell you, I mean, you know, it is something to really consider. So let's keep moving because I believe someone is preparing to see the market run, because I believe we're seeing here what we saw with Bitcoin when it was originally headed to $20,000 back in 2017, 2018. And you see here for Ethereum, the crypto derivative product barely launched on the exchange on Sunday. However, nearly 400 ETH future contracts were trading on the opening day. This does indicate that institutions are also interested. And again, it is what they used to pop the bubble on Bitcoin originally. That is not my speculation. Chris Giancarlo, the former CFTC chairman, told us that after he had left the CFTC and was at a conference. He said they specifically here in the U.S. had introduced the futures contracts to pop the bubble on Bitcoin and to rein it back in. What I see here is somebody putting the bit and bridle and the reins and the saddle on the horse. And I think they're preparing to be able to rein this thing in. Interestingly enough, talking about reining something in, BlackRock, a $7 trillion fund, outlining its potential move into Bitcoin futures trading. Really? A $7 trillion fund about to take a position and potentially move into Bitcoin futures trading. Well, listen, I tell you, the plot thickens here. This really does get interesting to me because BlackRock, obviously being so massive, if they get into this game, it's lights out. I mean, I think the pressure here that we're seeing is collectively, you're seeing the kind of pressure that I always talk about, but when China is moving forward, putting pressure on the rest of the world to get their position in this fourth industrial revolution. I see companies and institutions and investment funds doing that now too. That's what I see happening. I see them saying, hey, if we all take a deep enough position in this thing, they won't ban it, right? They'll have to regulate it because it would be too crippling to ban it if you get this much money deeply embedded into the asset and the whole entire asset class. All right, looking here, this is funny enough. This is from XRP Crypto Wolf Investment Bank. RBC Capital Markets believes Apple should buy Bitcoin and launch a cryptocurrency exchange. Really? Yeah. How long did it take to come up with that one? RBC suggests that getting into crypto will be less risky than Apple's rumored electric car project. Yeah, hashtag nailed it, right? I mean, look, I love green energy just as much as the rest of us, but I also like green money too. And the reality here is that it doesn't take a rocket science to tell you that if you saw PayPal be successful and they're creating a division for crypto because that's how much money was coming in, they need a whole new division to just be able to handle it. That went so well that because they are also the parent company of Venmo, they are now getting ready to set up Venmo to be able to do cryptocurrencies as well. Well, that ended up announcing that Visa decided to get in the game and say, well, you know what? We're going to offer the ability for you to spend your crypto to any of the 70 million merchants worldwide through Visa. Yeah. And now Apple's going, hey, you know what? We might get into this crypto game too. Might. Yeah. Well, listen, this is exciting to me because they're not going to miss this boat. And I would just go ahead to add this to it. This is from the article itself from Reuters. It added that if Apple, which already has a wallet app, shocker, went down this path, the move would likely make the United States a global leader in crypto assets. Again, leaning into what I just said about enough corporations taking a deep enough position, and then you can lessen the possibility of a government shutdown of the whole entire industry. If the U.S. owns the most crypto assets, be it Bitcoin or other assets, it would not make logical sense in our view to ban it, said the RBC analyst. You can't make this stuff up. And what I see right now is that if I continue to see a trend of the Teslas of the world take positions in Bitcoin and other assets, it tells me that that is exactly what's going on here, is to deepen the position in these in these new assets, this new asset class. So that way that regulators and legislators around the world are forced to deal with this issue, but not forced to deal with it in a way where they have to ban it, because it would be too critically damaging to ban anything. So then it becomes about how do we regulate it and keep investors and consumers safe. All right, looking at this news here from Cryptic Poet, Ripple partner American Express partners with ODX to offer business loans in Australia. This here is the actual post, and it says down here, American Express is partnered with originations platform ODX to introduce these loans harnessing capabilities of its digital platform existing footprint in Australia to ensure a seamless online application and approval process. This is to remind everyone that American Express has joined RippleNet back in 2017. This is Ripple. American Express has been working with Ripple very closely for many, many years. Here we see a post from Ripple themselves. I just wanted to point this out because the narrative goes to cross-border payments now. Make no mistake, this is why Ripple originally pursued this use case. And it's not just limited, to remittances. When you think cross-border, it can be remittances. It could be central banks, sophisticated financial institutions, small, medium enterprises. It does not have, it could be wholesale back-end derivatives market. It does not just have to be like me sending money back to a family somewhere. So here in this section here, it says a digital asset like XRP connects the dots between two currencies, makes things moving them faster, cheaper and more reliable. Using an expansive global blockchain network like RippleNet can cut settlement time, cross-border transactions, 3 days down to mere seconds. This has profound implications for accelerating financial inclusion, creating economic fairness and opportunity. All those things are real. They're very real. But the thing I wanted to add to that is the velocity of money. The velocity of money. How fast I get paid from my hand that I go out and pay the taxi driver who then goes and buys lunch. You know, how fast does that money move from one hand to another? Reminding the people, and everyone watching this channel and everyone around the world that there was a liquidity and economic crisis well before this pandemic got here. So all it did was exacerbate the situation, right? So at the end of the day here, you're looking at all of this and you say, well, this is the golden goose. That's what XRP is for. And you have a moment here where Sam Zell is talking about this. And let's just go back to the 2-minute mark where he says it very clearly in about 20 seconds. Listen to this, about the danger of the US dollar losing its global reserve currency status. Think of it.
So there's a point here where you really got to be careful that you don't, overexcite the economy. I've mentioned this many times before. My single greatest nightmare is the loss of the U.S. as the reserve currency.
Now, there it is right there. That's what his greatest single nightmare is. And I can tell you, it's not just a nightmare. It's also like a when you're awake issue too, right? It is an issue. And you don't have to be asleep for it to be a problem. The reality here is that this, to me, is why we're seeing so much coordination on the G20, G7 level, the February 12th meeting to explore central bank digital currencies and digital taxation and growing debt problems amid the pandemic. This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's exactly what Sam Zell was just mentioning too. Let's just look at this. The BIS calling for industry responses on cross-border payments, which are slow, often expensive and opaque and not easily accessible. I click on the article. It takes me to your stock, kind of a summary of the CPMI, right? And everything else that they've worked on. Then when I click on the FSB itself, I want you to hear here from about, let's say 45 seconds or so. I want you to hear what's said about cross-border payments between these two gentlemen. Listen to this.
Involvement of the private sector is vital. In February, the G20, the group of the world's largest economies, called for action to enhance cross-border payments. We have now delivered a roadmap to the G20 designed to make a real difference in addressing the challenges for existing cross-border payments. The roadmap provides a high-level plan which sets ambitious but achievable goals.
Now we're getting ready to hear from John Cunliffe, but I mean, listen to what he said there, talking about the public-private relationship and how cross-border payments are so important that we work towards this goal. Listen to what John Cunliffe says right here.
This roadmap brings together a coalition of international and national actors to deliver on 5 focus areas. First, a commitment to a joint public and private sector vision of the improvements in cross-border payments we want to achieve.
That to me is obviously Ripple. Public-private relationship. Who's been working with these major banks and sophisticated financial institutions more than Ripple has? I'll wait. You want to phone a friend? No one. Let's keep listening.
Second, steps to coordinate regulatory, supervisory, and oversight frameworks between
oversight, supervisory, regulatory frameworks? Oh, you mean like this FSB where they talked about regulating, supervising, and making arrangements for global stable coins? Huh, that's interesting. You mean like the G30 digital currency document that came out last year that took a conversation from Mark Carney, the former Bank of England governor, who suggested that a global stablecoin is in fact XRP itself? This is what he said. A systemic hegemonic currency could, for example, be a stablecoin backed by a basket or deposit at different central banks. It is possible that such stablecoin could be valuable for cross-border payments, serving a function similar to that offered in the private sector by Ripple. a real-time gross settlement system, currency exchange, and remittance network whose digital currency, XRP, leapfrogs slow and expensive correspondent banking. Do you mean just like this tweet by the Bank of International Settlements that says payments cross-border are still often slow, expensive, opaque, and not easily accessible? Or the FSB, who's looking for a solution here, telling us themselves that they're looking for a solution to cross-border payments here? Listen just to the rest of this.
Jurisdictions. Third, changes to existing payment infrastructures so it can support the changes in cross-border payments we need. Fourth, better data quality and market practices to enable reliable straight-through processing of cross-border payments. And fifth, exploratory work to examine the role that new technologies and payment infrastructures might bring in delivering these improvements. The roadmap we published today sets out in detail the steps required by a wide range of stakeholders to make cross-border payments faster, cheaper, more transparent, and more reliable. More details are available on the FSB.
And there you have it. That's the G20 and the Financial Stability Board and the Bank of England all uniting with the Bank of International Settlements as well to tell you, along with the G30 working group, to tell you that they think cross-border payments are the place that we got to start to reignite this economy globally, to be able to get the velocity of money happening. But we need to do it in a way that we can do it and introduce, let's say, a global stable coin and make sure that it's regulated, supervised, and has the proper arrangements to it to allow it to work in a jurisdictionless manner all across the world. As far as I'm concerned, at the end of the day, that coin for that job is XRP. And that's going to do it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, this space just keeps getting bigger. And I remind you, it keeps getting bigger while for the first time in the history of this entire space, this entire asset class, they are restricting buying for U.S. retail investors more than they ever had since the inception of crypto. I don't find that to be a coincidence at all. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe, leave a comment below, share with somebody you know, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. Make sure you check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. They are trusted, vetted links of products and services I use each and every day. And it is tax time, so make sure you reach out to Clinton Donnelly, the Crypto Tax Fixer. He can help you out, and I'll catch all of you on the next one.